This is a Zenith Royal 2000 AM/FM radio, transistor radio. This is the radio that was in the beginning of the Hostess video, where we hid all the Hostess products down deep in the mine, miles underground. And this thing works excellent on AM, but FM really lacks sensitivity and also is distorted. So it had kind of an intermittent where if you hit it real hard, it would wake up a little bit, but not real well, and then the intermittent would crap out again. So I was gonna do an alignment on it, and I set out to kind of find the intermittent, which I did find, and it's pretty much confirmed it. Probably one of the most, if I repair it, it'll probably be one of the most difficult repairs I ever attempt. What you're looking at there is the bottom of the last IF can, which is the discriminator mode where the two diodes are, discriminator can. You can see that hole right there is where the alignment tool goes in. What I'm going to do is let me see. See this 470 ohm resistor? That's the voltage supply going into the can, which then comes down here through this 270 into the transistor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure here.
People are giving thanks for huge savings during our Thanksgiving sales event. Say
yes, sirrito,
to the world's largest selection of new and used vehicles, and
yes, sirrito,
great financing options that'll have you saying
yes, sirrito. Black Friday, hours away. Do not miss it. Get to Target. Adrenaline is setting in.
Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump across the bottom of this thing with a 36 picofarad one of these. Kind of hard to do it with the camera in the way, but I'm going to try.
go directly to Fabulous with the new Monopoly Scratchers from California Lottery. All the fun of the Monopoly board game, but with real money. Please note that winning can result in dramatic lifestyle changes like buying a new car, buying a new horse, or buying a new car for your new horse. Sending your children to private schools to put across in polo with rich kids with names like Cassandra, Perry, Ottoman, Preston, Brewster, Shaw III. Or taking regular vacations to exotic destinations like Paris, Hawaii, or London.
So you can see the change. Now let's take a look at the SAMs. So as you can see here, this right here is the 470 ohm, and this is the 270 ohm. And you can see inside this can, there's an 80 picofarad capacitor. Now I know Retro Chad has been into a lot of these, especially on the old tube stuff. This must be a mechanical failure of this solder or connection inside the IF can, because if I go around the outside with another capacitor, you could see it pops in. Now you might just say, well, why don't you just put the stupid capacitor on the outside, because then inevitably the one inside is going to connect back up, and then it's going to be way out of tune and the sensitivity is going to be gone again. So in order to get this thing out of here, you would have to disconnect. Take this off here. You'd have to take all of these solder connections off, including it's soldered to the chassis right here and on the other side, which is not a problem for me to heat that up and get that apart. It's taking all these other capacitors and stuff off that are soldered so close and not breaking them, because all this is wrapped around here. So here's looking at the can from the top. The detector diodes are actually in the top of the can, and you can see right there is where it's pinned. And I almost wonder if I could drill those pins out right there and pull it off from the top and then silicone it back down on, but man, I don't know. All I need to do is just get in there and destroy that capacitor and then put another one on the bottom. Maybe I just drill a hole in the side of it very carefully, or cut a hole in the side of it with a Dremel. And let me play with it for a minute. I'm seriously trying to avoid taking this can out of here. All of those wires are wrapped around, fed through the hole and wrapped around. And I really feel like I'm going to do more damage than good by trying to remove this can out of here. I've managed to whittle those things open. Actually, it's those right there. I pulled them back with a dental tool, but I still don't know if that'll free it up. 1961. So I'm thinking about grinding a hole in it right there, cutting a hole in it just so I can peel enough of it back to get in there and cut one leg of that capacitor out. If it is a capacitor with legs, it could be those mica wafers, and in that case it would be totally pointless. I don't know what to do with this. Okay, well, I got it apart, and I see the 40. The 40 is right there, that disc, but I cannot see the 80. It must be a ceramic wafer down in the bottom of this thing. And how do I get this apart? Okay, microsurgery time. So I was able with the Dremel to grind this plastic off, and what there is this is two pieces of plastic, and this is a spring, and it's kind of all sandwiched together with the capacitor down inside here. And then this spring, it's crimped on the bottom like a rivet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to terminate this and put my capacitor on the bottom. I'm going to just leave the old one in there with one side of it cut off. Actually, I pretty much ground it out with the Dremel. Okay, we're back together, 99%, and you can... What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through a bunch of different capacitors, like 80, 50, 90, 100, and see which one peaks it. I get the most signal out of, and then what I'll do is I'll go back and align it.
Incorporating language into this.
Okay, all back together.
Of agriculture, and so we were
all back together, working very well, very sensitive. It aligned up very nicely. I just did the alignment, peaking it on 10.7 megahertz using the signal generator. So I ended up with a 75 picofarad capacitor. I couldn't find an 80, so I think I deserve an award for this repair. I found one other problem. It still kind of sounded tinny and distorted to me, so I started doing some DC voltage checks in the audio driver and output stage, and the driver transistor was way off. So I checked it and it was leaky. So I found a replacement PNP germanium and I stuck it in there. I'm going to just do a quick change and let you hear the difference.
Get me back, girl. Give me one of them. Give me one of them. Give me one. got what you looking for. Come see me in the VIP.
You can hear the distortion.